My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about Cadence of Hyrule, which is a rhythm roguelite developed by Brace Yourself Games and published by Nintendo for the Switch in 2019.
Yeah. A couple things going into this. This is a Gary pick. So this is my vanity pick for the month. It is one of the things that comes up with vanity picks, I think, sometimes, is the idea that a vanity pick or any game we do for the show is us finding the best representation of something. That has never been true.
Nope.
We did we did Dead Space. People are like, oh, Dead Space 2 is better. Or we did Soul Reaver. Like Soul Reaver 2 is better. Or Soul Reaver 3, et cetera, et cetera. Things like that. The idea is not necessarily to pick the best thing. Sometimes it's worth picking the first thing to kind of talk about the series tropes getting codified. But also, this is, to me, an interesting thing, which is why I brought this here. It's not an all-time favorite of mine or anything. It's like a solid B. But I think that it's really fascinating. I think there are a lot of cool things to talk about with this.
It is a very weird game that I think a lot of people are going to bounce off of. Primarily because of the way difficulty works in it, and also I think that there are peculiarities, to the default way of playing this that are just going to make people, it's not very hospitable, right? But like, it's a really, really cool product, and it is an excellent adaptation. Which is a weird thing to say about a video game aping another video game, but here we are.
Well, what's interesting is that it's there's really no reason to think that the audience for one would like the other. And we'll kind of talk about, like the idea that somebody who likes Zelda would like Crypt of the Necrodancer. Like there's not a built-in crossover between those two audiences.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I thought this was interesting, other than just wanting to see more stuff like this, especially from stodgy old Nintendo, to be loosen the reins a little bit, but also we're running low on Zelda games I think are worth talking about. I like Zelda. I like doing a Zelda every once in a while, but we got like Zelda 2, maybe Majora's Mask, and then
I'm gonna say definitely Majora's Mask.
Someday we'll do Majora's Mask. It plays just like Ocarina, and Ocarina plays like dog shit.
I know it plays like Ocarina, but it's different structurally.
It plays so bad. I don't know. My interest in games that play really, really bad is real low right now. We have to get back to me in a couple months.
I know we're going to get back to you in a couple months. I understand.
Yeah. We will do that eventually. Yeah. But it's just we're running a lot out of good Zelda games. So we have to farm them out to brace yourself here. Link's Awakening 2. We'll do Link's Awakening at some point. I like Link's Awakening. Yeah.
This is an interesting Zelda product. Who knows if it's canon? I've got no idea. But like, this is made for people who love Zelda.
If you started being concerned with what was Zelda canon, we get divorced. I couldn't do it.
No, I'm just saying that more for folks. Just like where do you place this? Just because it is developed outside Nintendo, it is at such a different scale. Blah blah blah. Like how much can this be considered a Zelda game? Capital Z, capital G. I don't know. I would say yes because it's got a bunch of Zelda stuff in there.
Yeah, but may as well. Yeah. It's also the other thing about this is it's our premium episode.
Mm-hmm.
for July, which means everybody gets these generalities, and patrons get the entire episode.
Yes. Yeah. And that also is going to be a little bit weird because this is neither fish nor fowl in terms of being like, I thought you catfished me into a roguelike, bud.
Nope.
Here, again, despite our arrangement on that, it's not a roguelike. It is not the progress stymieing kind of structure there, but also there's not a narrative or a fixed way to approach this, right? So like
Yeah.
the beat by beat, which is a pun in this instance, is going to be a little bit different. And, just because like we're going to talk about things in the order that I did them, but like anything is valid up until you get to the end, right?
Yeah. And it's valid, but it's also randomized to a degree.
Yes.
As well, like the actual specific layout. It's a really interesting game. There's a lot of weirdness to this. Yeah. This is a crossover between indie hit Crypt of the Necrodancer and The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
In this you play as Link, Zelda, or Cadence, who is the main character Crypt of the Necrodancer. You try to free the kingdom of Hyrule from a villain named Octavo.
I'm going to call him Octavio, which is the name of Dale Gribble's Boy Friday, voiced by Danny Trejo.
It's also a name.
Oh no, not voiced by Danny Trejo. Looks like Danny Trejo, voiced by Mike Judge. Yes.
Yeah. It's Octavio is a name. Octavo or Octavo is just music.
Yeah,
pun.
that's not the way where it goes. We have not covered Crypt the Necrodancer. Did you guys do an episode about it on Comrade?
I'm sure we did. I'm 90% sure we did.
Yeah. But that is a really interesting game. I played it mostly just to play it, just to see what it, what it was about, because I was pretty interested in like a different kind of roguelike at that point. Like, hey, maybe this thing is going to stick. What it is a roguelike where enemies move on the beat of the music, like of the track that is playing. And you must make your move on the beat as well, or you stumble and miss your chance to act. Specifically, this is on the beat, like you're not trying to match like, the notes and phrases that are happening here, and that is carried over into this as well.
Yeah, there's a little bar at the bottom that has the drum beat, the kind of heartbeat, the pulse, like a heart beats on it. Literally, when you do that. The original pitch for Crypt of the Necrodancer, when I first played this at PAX, you could play that with a dance pad. Yeah. That was always the kind of thing. That's incredibly fucking hard.
I can't imagine. I like trying to, because there's so much to keep track of just on the screen itself. Trying to coordinate my legs to do that as well. No fucking thanks.
And for me, Crypt of the Necrodancer is a good idea, but not a very good game. In like a general sense, like I spent a lot of time with it, but it's mostly useful to me in illustrative of difficulty stairs. Like the idea of not having enough granularity between your difficulty steps. So like Crypt of the Necrodancer, for some godforsaken fucking reason, is 4 levels. Or 4 biomes, and every time you go to a new biome, it's like the difficulty doubles. Each time. It's ludicrous. It's like not a very it's not a very well designed campaign, I guess. The interesting thing that carries over to this is this challenge of kind of keeping on the beat. You have to observe enemy movement patterns while getting into a rhythm in yourself, and because of this, enemies are all deterministic. An enemy might chase you down, but they have they're not improvising. They have a specific set of moves.
It's a little bit like each of them is a different kind of chess piece, and
it's very similar to that.
You're very much not trying to land where either them or their projectile is going to land. And when you are doing this at 140 BPM or whatever, it's really rough because you're also taking facing into account. You're taking spacing into account. Like you can end up like chasing a guy around and then just getting fucking rocked by his attack, and you also kind of get like being out of phase. Like it is very akin to driving a car you're unfamiliar with and pulling up to a gas station, but you put the pump on the wrong side, and so you turn around, but you're on the wrong side again. a little bit. Like it's a little bit like that feeling, but with a very demanding to see just a person pounding on a beat on the back of your neck.
You had to stop and recenter. One of the things about this game that's really interesting, and this is just me being a parody myself, but something the Necrodancer method has in common with Dark Souls.
The Necrodancer method.
The Necrodancer method, whatever we'd call this, like this gameplay mode.
The scheme.
Scheme is you panic, like it can drive you to panic. If you lose control, mistakes will snowball.
Yes.
You'll get off the beat and everything. There's a sense of this where you are paying attention at all times, but you have to stay calm. Stay calm during it in a way that at its best can induce a flow state like a Tetris, even though you are doing overhead combat.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of like Luminous in that way. And similar to Luminous, as things start getting more tense, if you start just making willy-nilly, moves and getting out of the groove, you'll start fucking up and those will compound.
Yeah.
With you.
I will say over the course of the 7 or 8 hours of my runtime on this, I very rarely achieved that. A lot of the time it was a little bit like patting my head and rubbing my belly at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm not like bad at rhythm games. Like I know how to find a beat. Like that's there. It was just that extra little bit of friction on top of keeping track of everything, especially later on, that made me kind of fall into the other mode that we'll talk about on this. The fixed beat, where like that was really interesting and fun to me.
One of the things, the reasons why I like this game is because it's 2 games.
Yes,
it contains 2 Ludum Dares. There are 2 Ludum Dares inside this game.
Yes.
I for my part got into that flow state once the game stopped getting difficult. Like an hour in or so. Once you start getting some power ups and health, I don't find this game hard. And then it was a lot easier for me to get in that mode, and just clearing screen after screen, just literally nodding to the beat. Almost, time passed, like hours disappeared. It was neat.
Yeah.
One of the things about earlier you mentioned the enemies doing like chess moves or chess pieces in the Crypt of the Necrodancer. There's a boss called Deep Blues where it's you versus a chessboard. And all the enemies move like their respective chess pieces. Neat. It's neat. It's a cool boss.
Maybe that's why I thought of that. Thought of that analogy.
Yeah,
I don't think I got to that boss, but yeah.
It's so you have this pressure to stay on the beat here. We'll talk about the other mode here in a little bit. Yeah. There is a multiplier, so as you stay on the beat and don't miss things, this will get better. You can have weapons that scale with this. You get better drops as this happens. It's very rare that I kept a very high multiplier going for very long.
Yeah.
This is and is not a roguelike. It's really interesting. It has a roguelike structure where when you first start the game, it generates a map. The stages are randomized. And then your character upgrades fall into categories of like kind of rogue character upgrades and permanent upgrades.
Right.
That you have.
Yeah.
And generally so imagine a game of rogue, like a traditional, like old school rogue, where things like scrolls and potions, did not persist, but weapons did, persist between runs. Like your most meaningful upgrades, your spells, your health upgrades, your different kinds of weapons will stick with you. You don't have that feeling of I've put upgrades into this and I'm going to lose it. The things you lose tend to be fairly piddly. It was very rare that I felt bad for losing a ring or a boot or a shovel in this.
It was mostly like the only time I felt bad on dying was if I was specifically trying to save up enough money in a small area to like buy a bottle, right?
Yeah.
Like there are shops in this, we'll talk about that, but like, just if I was just on a very particular task, but like if I, lost the hover boots or whatever, it's like, well, I wasn't really like depending on that because I wasn't counting on that dropping at that time. Like that like those are not the things that you're going to be relying on, right?
And there's a game design limitation that comes in that, where they can't design puzzles and challenges around things they don't know that you'll have. Right. So those things kind of by necessity end up just being lanyards, like little bonuses, little something extra. It's cool to be able to hover. It's useful sometimes, but there was a way to get up there without it. It's just going to save you steps and grief.
Yes. So to draw a distinction between Crypt and the Necrodancer and Cadence of Hyrule here, like Crypt and the Necrodancer roguelike structure, each of the stages was randomized in those biomes, and you had a kind of currency, two currencies, one for in the stage for buying in the shops, and then another, which were these diamonds for upgrading basically your home base, right? Like buying trainers and stuff.
Buying trainers, and then also buying the chance for things to appear in the dungeon.
Yes.
So, the Isaac thing.
Yeah.
This gets rid of that right. element. You still have that kind of cross play currency, but you will buy permanent upgrades with it, or just things for that run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What makes this not a roguelike, one of the things here is the structure of the world, right? They move things more towards this standard Zelda structure. You have this overworld that is procedurally generated for you. There are regions, there's always going to be a Death Mountain, there's always going to be Lost Woods, right? Hitting all of the hits. But those screens that make those up are going to be procedurally generated, and those are persistent, right?
Yes.
And as you explore that, you find these Sheikah stones, which are going to act like your checkpoints. And you pretty quickly, if you're looking in the caves, and the caves are signaled just like Zelda caves are, you're going to find a loot that will let you kind of warp between them. So your first order of business, and what ended up being pretty important to me, was just okay, I'm on the overworld. I'm going to go explore as much of this as I can to see what I can get off of that.
That's literally the loop.
Yes.
It's weird. It doesn't have a Zelda or Necrodancer loop in that way. You start out this game rooming around the world state, looking for Zelda caves and getting meaningful upgrades that will last between runs.
Yeah.
One of the big flaws of this game, even though it's a game I like, the difficulty curve is one of the weirdest ones in video games.
Yeah.
In that it is a straight downhill.
Yep.
This game just gets easier. It doesn't get harder. They struggle with ways to make the bosses more complicated and difficult, and I think largely fail at it. I don't think that the bosses end up being as interesting as the ones in Necrodancer, and in part because I can take 40 hits before getting hit. I'm invincible. That's before health potions.
Yeah.
I am fine.
If you're trying to picture the difficulty curve on this, picture trying to break through a 3-foot thick brick wall, and on the other side of that is a water slide.
Yeah, it's basically it. It starts out hard, especially if you don't know how to play it. If you're playing it like a Zelda, you're going to beeline for the first dungeon. You really don't want to do that. You go around and you sweep up the world.
No, you're going to get wrecked. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that gets you over that wall. The dungeons themselves are randomized on death, but you get shortcuts. And the dungeons are pretty short. They're just a couple floors and then the boss. So they're really not the emphasis as much as the overworld and the little miniature challenge caves are.
Yeah. The dungeon is basically a place to get little gimmicks, like gimmick tiles. You've got the ice dungeon, you've got the one with poison bog kind of stuff, and then particular enemy mix-ups that they end up emphasizing.
And the dungeons are the things that look the most like Necrodancer levels.
Yes.
The dungeons of this are kind of like you going into an instanced Necrodancer level.
Yeah. With the big difference being you are not on a time limit. You're not trying to get to the end of the stage before the song ends.
Yes.
These do loop.
Yeah. Because that being an incredibly harsh design choice in Crypt of the Necrodancer. So the shortcuts, eventually you get just a beeline to the boss. So this world design going through the world, you're not going to have that very much of that roguelike structure. You might die a few times in the beginning getting the shape of it, but then you go and get some gear.
Yes.
And there are a lot of different kinds of items and weapons, which bring me into the second, the first interesting thing about this, using, taking this, merging these two gameplay things. The second thing, and we've only done a couple of games like this, and there's probably, it'd be fun to find a list of all of these, are games that use another game as a guide. You're going to get items and weapons and stuff, and the reason you know what those do intuitively is because of Zelda.
Yes.
This is very similar to when we did Chocobo's Dungeon, where Final Fantasy served as a libretto for a roguelike. I know Faraga is better than Fyra even though those words are nonsense. They're just made up, made up baby talk. But I know one of them is better than the other because I have this experience.
Yes.
Here, I know how a hook shot works. Like, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
I don't have a hook shot in real life. I don't go down to the hook shot store, but because of that, I know it works the same way as it does in Zelda.
I do have a hook shot in real life, and my shoulders are ruined.
Yeah, and then I ripped my shoulder out of my joint for the last time. My doctor says, "Please quit."
I've got a syndrome that doctors call crash dummy-itis.
Yeah. You're gonna have to. This is how you get arm wife. Eventually.
Yeah. But like, if you have played a top-down Zelda game, you know how these bombs work, right?
Yep.
And that is incredibly comforting and very interesting to see all of the creativity that goes into taking those old Zelda things and adapting it into the new scheme. Right.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's really neat. And I'd love to see more games do that.
Yes.
Another example, I don't like this game very much, but Vampire Survivors does it by using Castlevania sub-weapons as a schema for that. I think that's cool. I think that's a neat game. I don't generally like remix culture. I think this is a cool taking our childhood memories of old Nintendo games and doing this. I think is neat. The weapons that you get generally that are more Necrodancery are a little bit more specific. So there are weapon types you get. These are different kind of classes of weapons, and then they have modifiers for them.
And these hit at different distances or at different patterns in front of you. This does play like a roguelike. You will attack when you run into something. Right. Except if you have something that broadens it out. So like a spear will attack 2 spaces in front of you, right? So you get a little bit of range. Broadsword, love me a broadsword. You basically hit all 3 blocks that are in front of you. Kind of perpendicular to you. Yeah, you cleave.
Yeah. It's really great. The broadsword is what I use for most of this as well. And it has a little bit of that roguelike because I lucked into a good broadsword. I lucked into a cool magical broadsword that did poison damage. So that changed my tactics to hit and run tactics because I could hit an enemy once, get away, and they would die from poison a couple turns later. These will last between rounds unless they're glass. Glass weapons are very powerful, but will break if you get hit. And you also can upgrade these yourself. So there are different upgrade paths. There are ones that will drain health, ones that do poison, ones that just do more damage, and ones that do more damage based on your multiplier.
Yes.
For kind of a high risk, high reward kind of thing.
Yeah, you do that at the fairy fountains.
Yeah, the big sexy fairies that they have to have because of Zelda. And you want to have, these are all tools in your box. So you don't have to get rid of them. You're not making a choice at the beginning. Like I had my poison broadsword that I used, and then a titanium spear for bosses. Where I wanted to be able to do more damage from a distance so I can melt them down. Things like that. And you can switch between at will.
Which is good and welcome. I'm happy you don't have to do that like a shake a stone or something because you want to be adaptable because so many different things are thrown at you often on the same screen. We kind of talked about this. You do have temporary equipment. You have your shovel, which will let you dig soft walls, a torch, which you can use to burn stumps, also increases visibility. All of these can have modifiers too. So like shovels have different speeds that they can go through stuff. Torch,
or this finds gold. When you dig, the torch will show what's inside a chest before you open it. Things like that. Those have actually all these items in this class have durability that goes down. Weirdly, the shovel and the torch are things that you need sometimes.
Yes. In
kind of a sloppy bit of game design patching, if you ever don't have one, the game just will give you one. Like the first enemy you'll kill will drop it. I get that. I'm glad they don't leave you up Shit's Creek. At the same time, it's just, why not just give me a permanent shovel and torch? It's a little busy work feeling. The other things you can get are boots, which intersect with movement generally. And these are real neat. You can, like we mentioned, hover boots before. They're ones that let you take 2 hops. You actually move 2 spaces, which is like always fucked me up, and I did not like those.
It was a curse.
It was absolutely a curse. And then rings that will give you damage bonuses or that will protect you from a hit, things like that. These do not carry over between runs, but if you get that meta currency, the diamonds, you can buy them to set up for your next run.
Yes.
If you see them in the shop in the beginning.
Yeah. With the fates. Yeah. Yeah, and then you have like Zelda items, artifacts, or what have you. Like, I don't know what the proper term is for these because some of them are outright weapons, you know. But these are permanent.
It's real weird that for Zelda, a bow is an item and not a weapon.
Isn't
that weird?
That is weird.
That's weird, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Where are you going with this?
Yeah, but these are permanent. Once you find them, you know, they're high value acquisitions, right? You're gonna have them, and these are primarily, you know, like a lot of them will make you better at combat. You know, like the bow, especially the great bow, is incredibly powerful. But you know, other ones are going to increase your mobility, right? Like you get a jump, you get like a little charge kind of thing. Obviously, the hook shot, high value. Yeah.
One of my favorite things is the Staff of Mina or whatever one, the one that makes blocks, which is on loan from Link to the Past. This game steals its aesthetic from Link to the Past or borrow, you know, homages. But that is so different with the three dimensionality of these maps.
Yes.
Being able to create a block is actually significantly more important than it ever was in Link to the Past.
No, like the Cane of Samaria was specifically just for like that one dungeon to create blocks for block pushing puzzles.
Yep. Here it's actually like significantly more useful.
Yeah.
When you go through a choice I really like, when you go through the dungeons, you get a big chest in the temple and you find these 4 specific Zelda key items and you get a choice of which order to take them in.
Right.
So you get to choose, you know, do you want a boomerang? Do you want a bow? Do you want the hook shot? Things like that. These are the only ones that are ever required, specifically in the last dungeon. But you can kind of pick your play style. With these. And they can also be upgraded. So, you know, you get the boomerang and then eventually you do get the magic boomerang. Things like that.
This is going to frustrate people, like people who really fixate very hard on every dungeon needs to both give you like a particular item and be designed around that item, where that item is the key to doing everything in it, to fighting everything in it. And the boss, you know, it requires that item to be successful.
3 hits of the item.
Yes. Yeah. This is not that.
100%. And I know people really like that. I do not like that in the Zelda game. Even in the Zelda games I love.
I've graduated.
I think that kind of sucks.
I've graduated past that. Fucking give me the Link Between Worlds. That's another good Zelda we need to talk about.
Yeah, we definitely got to do Link Between Worlds. But the idea that it always felt very artificial to me. Like you find the hook shot and then use the hook shot on the boss. No. Like in some ways that is classic game design. In another way, it is, are you a bad enough dude to pick up this key and put it in this lock? You know, which is my problem with Zelda in general. Yeah. You know, like there's a lot of like, you're in a room, there's a door, there's a key on the floor. What do? You know, that kind of stuff. Whereas this is more a little bit, you did it. And then tons of fanfare, you know, for having done so. This has a little bit more expression play. I think in general, the dungeons in Zelda are weirdly pretty overrated. Yeah. I'd rather have them be these little combat challenges that they are.
Yeah. So that is a good one there. Being able to pick at the big chess. A lot of these are reached by solving puzzles. Oftentimes you're pushing blocks around in order to create paths for yourself. This is important to note. The rhythm movement is only required of you when there are active enemies in the room. So you can clear all the enemies and then move around to your heart's content, hop in between the squares without that requirement.
Yes, which is great for backtracking and then also just very useful for solving any puzzles.
Yes.
Or anything. Like you see a cave, your dungeon iconography tells you, oh, that cracked wall, that's a cave. But enemies are about. Maybe you don't want to deal with that pressure. That also interfaces with the currencies of the game. There are 2 rupees, which are lost on death. These are used in shops. Sometimes you can buy permanent upgrades in shops. Diamonds are the permanent currency here. And the diamonds are used not only to give yourself those upgrades when you die, you also get them for killing all the enemies in a room.
Mm-hmm.
So it is one of the reasons to do combat. But I really like this decision, because if you don't need these and you're just passing through, don't fight things.
Yeah.
You just scoot on by.
You're going to end up with so many diamonds.
It still has the same diamond economy as Crypt of the Necrodancer, but not nearly as much stuff to spend. On it. Yeah. Our buddy, the merchant from Crypt of the Necrodancer, Freddie Merchantry, is back. Who's great. I love him. Yeah.
I love anything that uses that synthesizer, like
that voice
singer. Yeah, like that particular voice, just the really warbly.
It's so good. I don't know if it's sold out. I have a plush of him where you squeeze him and he sings.
Yay!
It's real good. And there's a DLC where they made him a playable character, and when he dies, he turns into a ghost called the Phantom of the Chopra. Yay!
That's really good.
I love this. Similar to Dark Souls, you hear a blacksmith, so a blacksmith's about. He starts singing along to the music. When you can find him in the game, and it really changes. This intersects with the downtime mode, like when there are no enemies. The soundtrack to this game, which we'll talk about later, is not just good because it's good. It's good because all of these songs have 3 different versions.
Yeah,
all of which fucking slap. Like there is the calm version where there's no enemies, the intense version with the beat, and then the version with the merchant singing.
Yep.
It's doing very clever things with music in terms of music communicating things by its intensity.
And phasing between them seamlessly. That's worth saying.
Yes.
Yeah. At Freddie Merchantry's place, you spend your rupees, and then the diamonds in between rounds is the primary place. There are some places where you can use them in the world, but in between rounds, you will kind of respawn like in this cave with one of the fates. And you get a little spread of things to buy. Oftentimes there'll be like a basic torch or a basic shovel. Don't buy that. Don't spend the diamond there. You're going to find one of those. Early on, this is where you're going to get like a few heart pieces or heart containers, maybe a bottle or 2. Those are going to be your high ticket items, and that is a way where death can help you fail forward a little bit.
And weirdly, it's the place where you buy the spear.
Yes.
There's one weapon that's available primarily through this, which is a really good one. Like the spear is really good. Yeah. So when you start, you get to choose between Link and Zelda. Eventually you get to choose to play Cadence. The first time I played this, I played as Zelda. This time I played as Link. They're pretty similar, but they have some important differences, both in terms of special abilities and access to which weapons.
Yes.
They each have unique weapons. There.
Yeah. So like Link gets a shield. Actually, I think everybody gets a shield in this one, which you can use to bounce projectiles back. But like his big one is a spin attack, right? You can charge it up on a beat and then release it to hit everything around you. That's the big one that I found. Also, Link gets the what is he? He can use the broadsword, right?
I think he gets the broadsword specifically. Yes. Zelda gets magic, which so she can use a protection spell where at the cost of stamina you can create a shield around yourself that will not make you lose the beat and will prevent you from being hurt by enemies. She can also shoot fireballs eventually. I think her specific weapon is the rapier, which I haven't played it. If I remember, it reaches 2, but it moves you forward a space. You kind of do a lunging attack. Anything that moves my character, I dislike. So the I even when I played through as her, I didn't use that weapon. Rather.
And I think Cadence's one is like a great shovel, right?
Yes.
Like her special, and then she's got some shovel attacks and techniques that you can use.
There are a bunch of other characters that are DLC that have interesting ways that they work. There's the challenge character they're always going to have in these, which is the one where if you go off the beat, you die, which is for sickos. I'm not that. Let's talk about the game within a game.
Let's do that, because this is where I spent about half of it. Like after a certain point, I was like, okay, like I'm just going to benefit from doing this, and also it's easier to take notes in this fixed beat mode. This is taken. There's a character in Crypt of the Necrodancer called the Bard that completely changed the game when you played it, where you could move not on the beat, right? And here anybody can do that. It's just an option that you can turn off and on in the pause menu. I feel added primarily because they didn't want to completely alienate people who liked Zelda but not Necrodancer. Right?
Yeah, it's what's it, yes, yeah. It's an easy mode, but a really interesting easy mode.
Yes,
right, because it turns it into Zelda super hot.
Yes.
If you ever wanted to play a top-down Zelda that was basically enemies only move when you do, this does it. There's no condescension in it, which I love. We love that for difficulty modes. I played through the whole game in regular rhythm mode, but I turned on fixed beat mode for a couple of the shop games, specifically the archery one.
Yeah.
Which is really tricky on the beat.
Yes.
Much easier off of the beat. But like overhead Zelda super hot, also a good idea for a game.
Yes.
And it's just contained within this game, which I think is super rad.
If I had it to do over again, I would start out doing fixed beat mode until I really got a good, until I really internalized the way different enemies moved and attacked. And then I would have gone over to the one where you were playing with the beats. Even with fixed beat mode, I was still tapping it to the beat on occasion. I just liked having the option to slow it down if something was especially tough to get through, right? Tough to read more specifically.
It's worth clarifying, if you're on beat mode, if you're on music mode, if you stop, you don't take damage on your main characters. You get a little bad thing happening sound, but it's up between you and your god how much you care about a game chiding you. But the enemies still move.
Yes.
So that's the big difference in terms of slowing down. Like when you're playing on music mode, you can stop, but the enemies won't.
Yeah.
And some enemies will just like kind of four square dance over in their own corner, and some of them will chase you down.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of stops you from being able to take a pause. My first playthrough in this, I did spend a good portion of it in fixed beat mode just to check it out, because I was fascinated by the idea of a Zelda where the enemies only move when you do. Super cool idea. The third kind of like thing about this I think is really interesting is the idea of games that contain, even if they're kind of presenting them as difficulty modes, contain two very different styles of play that are both interesting.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it, when you do have time to think this stuff through, you have a little bit of, something kind of approaching perfect information. There's a strategy element to it as well. And it gets really fun on a very crowded screen to plan a route of attack. Right.
Yeah. And that's Rogue, baby. That's classic Rogue. For you, like not rogue likes, but rogue, a rogue like, not rogue light.
Yes.
That is the appeal. That also comes up in like Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon and stuff.
Yeah. You're sharing the Wanderers and such.
Yeah. This game starts hard and gets as easy as anything, which is probably a problem. Stops it from being a truly great game. I would have liked a little bit more rigor, but still less rigor than Necrodancer.
Please. Somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between, which they still have not landed, but I'm rooting for them. The game looks great. I think it marries the styles of Zelda and Crypt of the Necrodancer, primarily borrowing a lot from Link to the Past. Four Swords era Zelda.
Yeah, like high res SNES kind of look. Yeah. Specifically the overworld feels very Link to the Past. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which I love that. Again, that kind of libretto. That's I cannot pass that up.
Yeah. And the adaptation that is brought into here with this. Like there's a lot of creativity on display here, but you can tell that this is just an absolute dream for the creators. The people working on this. Just getting up a big list of Zelda stuff and figuring how does this fit into into the style of play of Crypt of the Necrodancer, right? Like how are we going to bring it in?
It's a really interesting design problem they had, and seeing how they tackled it is just endlessly fascinating to me. There's also see that scene where the guy who made Mario Rabbids cried because Shigeru Miyamoto liked his game. This idea of Nintendo loosening their control on some of the stuff and letting people who really, really love it, passing on to this kind of next generation. I'm all in favor of it.
Yes.
Let people play with the toys. You know, they haven't made anything like, I'm not the biggest Mario and Rabbids fan. You know, I gave it a second shot here recently. It is just too easy for me, but there's nothing that's been an abject failure.
Yeah.
You know, Nintendo that is less gun shy now after the CDI is a better Nintendo.
Yeah.
And maybe in our lifetime, we will see a less risk averse, less conservative Nintendo, even though I am buckled up for about 30 years of Breath of the Wild being Zelda. You know, they found a winning formula, and they love to squeeze every little bit of juice out of that bad boy.
Yeah, no more blood left. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we got to talk about the music in this. Holy shit.
Yes.
Is this really good? I've had this
it's incredible.
I've had the soundtrack just playing on repeat like the entire time I've been going, which something doesn't usually enter my rotation on that quite as quickly as this.
Yeah. It's super, super good. It's taking the skeleton of Zelda music, familiar Zelda music, you know, and then just doing really, really good mixes of it. Yes. It reminds me of like theater rhythm, you know, as a thing almost. You know, or when people, the MMOs, the Final Fantasy MMOs, where they're taking these songs that are kind of holy and doing new arrangements. Yeah. These are great arrangements, and they get a lot of versatility out of it through having peaceful mode, combat mode, and merchant singing mode.
Yeah.
For that.
Also, like, everything has a very strong beat, but it is not entirely like dance music kind of stuff. There's, you know, a huge amount of like atmospheric and genre versatility here. So like, I don't know, one of my favorite tracks in the game is the Gerudo Desert music, which takes that theme but then makes it into like an Ennio Morricone kind of sound, which is really, really good. Yeah. These mixes were done by two creators named Family Jewels and Adrosaurus. These were the some of the folks responsible for the music in Crypt the Necrodancer, right? And again, being given the keys to this kingdom, like these themes that everybody knows and loves, here, make of it what you will. Again, just opportunity of a lifetime. You get the sense, and they made good. You know, they took that opportunity and made good use of it.
Made good on it. It makes me happy to be less precious about some of this stuff. Yeah. So the original Crypt of the Necrodancer, created by Ryan Clark. The goal of this was to find a compromise between turn-based and real-time roguelikes. And he stumbled upon this kind of limited time turn-based model. And then was like, what if this fit in with rhythm-based play? And did the mashup. This game was a huge success, really big in early access, really big in full release. Huge crowd of people at PAX when they were showing this, just like absolutely darling of the show floor in the indie booth.
Yeah. So because everything indie has to be ported over to the Switch, Clark was working on that port, and he reached out to Nintendo saying, hey, for the Switch, how about if you gave me like the rights to do some Zelda stuff, and I incorporate that, you know, as a like exclusive to this platform, just because he really likes Zelda, right? Didn't know that both Shigeru Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma were both huge fans of Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yeah. What a sweet moment that I had to have
just like, him. Hey, it's funny that you ask. And so like those talks went from like this Hail Mary pass of, you know, like, okay, well, it's, you know, what are the worst they can say to me is no, right? And went up to like, well, like what if there was just a whole game? Like, would that be cool to you?
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
This is the first time, you know, this happened. The developer gave kind of free reign to any developer to make their own game. Based on their stuff. They took a moment off of trawling fan games and suing the people who are making them for their entire life's work.
Sending wet work squads out to just disappear them. Yeah,
they stopped sniping the guy who did the version of Super Mario Brothers we can play as the Contra guy, because that was holding our nation back.
Really, I'm so happy we can finally move on from that.
I can sleep at night. Pixel artist from Sonic Mania worked on this game as well. And this game was kind of surprise release. It was announced less than a month before its release.
Yeah. I remember being very confused when they showed this because it kind of like, oh, this doesn't look like anything to me. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, wait. So is this like an expansion pack? Like, what are we talking about? Nintendo has worked with big studios, for a long time, Capcom and Ubisoft, stuff like that, to actually have like basically an indie game, but themed after this officially. Had no idea.
Yeah, it was a new
And
thing.
kind of didn't know until I played it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. Like Pokemon is the only Nintendo property, Nintendo affiliated property that gets remixed this hard. Like you can do a Pokemon game about fucking anything.
Yeah.
But if it's Mario, we're doing it. Us. This reviewed pretty well. Got 85 on Metacritic, which again, solid B. That feels right to me. A chart topper on the eShop when it came out, so sold pretty well. And there are 3 pieces of DLC that are new character based.
Yes.
Generally, they change your verb set rather than the world. These do change really differently or play very differently. I have not spent very much time with them, but I've checked them out.
Yeah.
They're neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to be all for the public portion of the episode. If you want to hear the rest of this, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and get the full version plus the full version of every premium episode, which are more than I have counted recently. So it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get to support us, and we really appreciate it. Let's us keep doing this.
Yeah.
If you are a non-white, non-straight, non-male, non-cis creator and you'd like us to shout you out, please send me an email at Gary@Duckfeed.tv. Include your pronouns, things like that, and we will give you a shout out. This episode, I want to shout out Laura from the online. Her online name is Control-Alt-Noob, who is a streamer and YouTuber. Kind of a variety streamer, specifically does these indie showcase projects where they look at games she found in like bundles, Game Pass, things like that, and kind of show them off. So as you're hearing this, Saturday the 29th of July will be episode 100 of the Control-Alt-Noob indie showcase, which is real cool. You can find her stuff all over. She's on YouTube and Twitch, Discord. If you go to bio.link/Control-Alt, spelled CTRL, and then noob, you can find all the links.
Yeah. Love a variety stream. Yeah. Especially one that's just like, hey, here's some weird shit that I found. Yeah.
Indie showcases are a really good idea for that kind of thing because discoverability is difficult.
Yes.
And we are drowning in indie games.
We are.
So the idea of finding a personality that you like who can kind of steward you through this stuff, I think is really cool. So go check out Laura's stuff.
Do. Yeah. If you have thoughts about this month's games, it is unfortunately too late to write in about them. However, if you have thoughts about August games, the deadline is August the 15th. Those games are Mystical Ninja 64, Dragon Quest 4. We're doing a 2-parter on that, and the premium episode is about Cruelty Squad. And go to duckfeed.tv/contact and use the forum there. If you have thoughts about multiple games, please separate them into multiple responses. Just makes our job possible.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Big thanks to our editor Gwen, our producer Gwen, and big thanks to you. And we hope you take care. And if you're hearing this, go become a patron. Otherwise, we will see you next week with our dispatch.
Bye.